Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're breaking down a pretty wild discovery in GTA Online. And no, it's not a new car or a crazy heist. It's something that could fundamentally change how you even get into the game. We're talking about the game, yes, the game, asking you for your government ID. Seriously. All right, so let's get right into it. To really get a handle on what this means, the source material paints a picture for us. A little scenario that, honestly, might not be a what if for very long. Just imagine this for a second. You've had a long day at work or school, whatever. All you want to do is just kick back, relax, and, de-stress a little. So you boot up your console, fire up GTA Online, ready to jump in with your friends. Maybe you just bought a shark card and you're ready to cause some of that good old-fashioned Los Santos mayhem. But then, bam! Before you even see the city skyline, a new screen pops up. It's not the usual loading screen. It's something else, and it's blocking your way. And this is where this whole thing stops being a hypothetical story. Because that prompt on the screen, it's not just some made-up scenario. According to our source material, actual code has been found deep within GTA Online's files, and it points to exactly this kind of ID verification system. Now, the source is quick to point out that this code isn't active yet, but all the groundwork is there. It's basically like a switch waiting to be flipped. And the expectation? That switch is going to get flipped, and probably pretty soon. So you've got to be asking, why? Why on earth would they do this? What's pushing such a pretty controversial change? The answer, interestingly, doesn't seem to be coming from Rockstar themselves. It's coming from a new law. Yeah, this all seems to boil down to a piece of legislation that was just passed over in the United Kingdom. So what is this law? Well, on paper, its goal is pretty straightforward. Make the internet a safer place for kids. The idea is to stop them from accessing content that's considered harmful or inappropriate for their age. Okay, so why is GTA Online in the crosshairs? I mean, it's pretty obvious when you think about it, right? Our source points out that it's kind of a perfect target for a law like this. You've got the gambling mechanics in the Diamond Casino, you've got the violence, the strip clubs, not to mention the completely unmoderated chat between players. All of these things fall right under the microscope of this new act. And this is a really, really important point the source makes. Rockstar isn't just deciding to do this out of the blue. Their hand is being forced. If they want to keep selling and operating GTA Online in the UK, they have to comply with this law. It's not a choice. And as you can probably imagine, the idea of having to show your government ID just to play a video game, well, it opens up a huge can of worms. It really sparks that classic, age-old debate: where do we draw the line between protecting people and protecting our own personal freedom? And this right here really lays out the two sides of the coin. On one side, you have the law's goal: protect kids, make the internet safer. Sounds good, right? But on the other side, you have the concern raised by the source that this is being done at the expense of freedom for adults, that it's basically government overreach creeping into our digital lives. Another layer to this is who actually handles your data. The source points out that it probably wouldn't even be Rockstar storing your ID. It would likely be some third-party verification company. And let's be honest, we hear about data breaches all the time. A third-party company is just another potential weak link in the chain, another place for your sensitive information to be attacked. You often hear people say, well, I have nothing to hide, so why should I care? But the source really pushes back on that idea, arguing that it completely misses the point. The perspective here is that privacy isn't some kind of reward you get for being a good, innocent citizen. Privacy is a fundamental right, period. This whole situation kind of pulls back the curtain on something we don't always think about: a hard truth about all those digital games sitting on your hard drive right now. And here it is, the big one. When you buy a digital game, you don't actually own it. Nope. What you're buying is a license to play it. And the terms of that license, well, they can be changed at any time, without your consent, even years after you've already paid for the game. So this leads to a really kind of scary question from the source. What happens if you don't agree to these new terms? Let's say you're not comfortable giving up your ID. What happens to that $60 you spent on the game? What about the hundreds of dollars you might have spent on shark cards? Your access could just, poof, be gone. And your money? Well, it's gone with it. And this is where the source brings up that classic slippery slope argument. Okay, so today it's an ID check to play a video game. What about tomorrow? Does your console need to have its camera on the whole time to prove it's you? What about the future?
Do you need to submit to a biometric scan just to stream a movie? Where does it end? Okay, so we've talked about all these big privacy issues, but let's ask a more basic question. Does a law like this even work? And maybe even more important than that, who should be responsible for protecting kids online anyway?
Yeah. A huge point from the source is that these kinds of verification systems are often kind of useless. I mean, a determined kid is going to find a way around it, right? They can use a VPN to pretend they're in another country, they can get a fake ID, or even find a real stolen one online. Heck, they could just ask for or even take their parents' ID. So in the end, the whole thing just becomes a massive inconvenience for adults, but not a real roadblock for the kids it's supposed to stop. And this really gets to the heart of the argument presented in the source material. The idea is that laws like this take the responsibility away from the people who should have it. The perspective here is that it's a parent's job to protect their kids online, not the government's. And really, that's what this entire thing boils down to. It all comes down to one single, really provocative question that sits at the center of this whole debate. And it's the question we're going to leave you with to chew on. Whose job is it to parent? The government or the parents themselves?